A hush fell over the training field the moment she pulled off her jacket. The sun glared down on the recruits, sweat dripping from their brows as they prepared for the obstacle course. But all eyes turned to her, Private Elena Torres. Her arms and shoulders bore jagged, angry scars, each one a map of pain she had endured long before stepping foot into this base. Some looked like burns, others like deep cuts that had long healed but left their mark. She had learned to live with them, to hide them when she could, but today the heat had stripped away her cover. One recruit, loud, brash, and desperate for attention, snickered first. "Hey, Torres," he called, his voice dripping with mockery, "what happened to you? Get in a fight with a blender?" Laughter erupted from a few others, nervous and cruel. Torres didn't flinch, didn't even look their way. She adjusted her grip on her water bottle and stared straight ahead. But the laughter spread like wildfire. Another added, "She looks like she wrestled a lawnmower and lost." The cruel jokes continued, each one cutting deeper than the scars themselves. Torres clenched her jaw. She had endured worse than this. Fire, chaos, the kind of terror that changed you forever. She refused to give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. Then a deep voice cut through the noise like thunder. "That's enough." Every recruit froze. General Marcus Holloway, the man whose reputation alone could silence an entire parade ground, had arrived unnoticed. His presence commanded respect, his gaze sharp and unrelenting. He stepped forward, boots crunching against gravel, until he stood directly in front of Torres. For a long moment, he said nothing, just studied her, his expression unreadable. The recruits braced for impact, expecting him to chastise her for distracting the unit or to scold the group for their lack of discipline. Instead, his next words struck like lightning. "Stand tall, call sign Phoenix." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phoenix. The name wasn't just a call sign, it was a legend whispered across bases and battlefields. Phoenix was the soldier who had pulled 5 comrades from a burning convoy after it was ambushed overseas, returning into the flames again and again despite her own body catching fire. Phoenix was the one thought lost in the chaos, only to rise, burned, broken, but alive, carrying others with her. Phoenix was the kind of name that recruits were taught to respect, a story they heard in hushed tones to inspire courage. And now she was standing before them, silent, scarred, and real. The recruit who had mocked her looked as if the ground had swallowed his voice. His face drained of color. He had insulted a hero, someone who had earned every line on her skin through unimaginable sacrifice. General Holloway's voice hardened. "These scars you mock, they are proof she's already lived what most of you only train for. Proof of courage you haven't even begun to understand. Every line, every burn, is a story of lives saved because she refused to quit. She is Phoenix, and you," he turned his cold gaze on the mocking recruit, "should pray you have even half her strength when your moment comes." Silence weighed heavy on the training field. No one dared to speak. The mocking recruit lowered his head, shame burning hotter than the sun. Torres stood taller now, though her face remained calm. She hadn't needed anyone to defend her, but the acknowledgement, the truth spoken aloud, brought a weight off her chest she hadn't realized she carried. For years, she had been treated like a ghost, remembered only in rumor and whispers. Now, the reality of who she was had been laid bare for everyone to see. The rest of training that day carried a different energy. Recruits who once averted their eyes now met hers with quiet respect. Some even whispered, "Phoenix," under their breath, not as mockery, but as reverence. The mocking recruit approached her later, his voice low and unsure. I didn't know. I'm sorry." Torres studied him for a long moment, then gave a small nod. "Respect isn't given because of what you know. It's shown because of who you are, even when you don't know someone's story." Her words lingered in his mind long after. In the days that followed, Torres trained harder than anyone else, not to prove herself, but because that's who she was. The recruits watched as she scaled walls with scarred hands, pushed through exhaustion without complaint, and encouraged those who fell behind. Slowly, admiration replaced ignorance. She wasn't just Phoenix the legend anymore, she was Phoenix the leader. By the end of their training cycle, the very ones who had laughed now stood at attention when she entered. Respect wasn't forced, it was earned, and Torres had earned it 10 times over. The scars that once drew ridicule became symbols of strength, reminders that true warriors are not defined by how they look, but by what they've endured, and what they rise from. Her story spread again, not as a myth whispered in shadows, but as a living truth carried in the hearts of those she trained beside. And every time a new recruit looked her way with wide eyes, she stood tall, unashamed. Because she wasn't just Elena Torres anymore. She was Phoenix, the one who rose from fire, and taught others how to rise with her.